So I'm really hoping this goes well. I'm going to push a little button here so I can see. This is a new way for me to do it. Anyway, this is the next card in my Purple Passion series. And pardon the bandages, I decided to grab a skillet handle fresh out of the oven. Completely forgot it had been in the oven and grabbed it with my bare hand and did some damage. But I can still make a card. This card is one of my favorites in this series because it is just perfect for a sympathy card, or, you know, if somebody's just going through a little bit of a hard time. Seems like I have needed a bunch of sympathy cards recently. So actually the one I'm going to create today is not identical to this one because I need it for a friend, a neighbor whose dad passed away. So I'm still going to go with the florals because I think that's okay, but I'm just going to kind of change things up a little bit. I'm going to be using some Pretty Peacock ink, and I'm going to be using the light Pretty Peacock Stampin' Blend. I'm going to be using the Basic Beige polyester ribbon, and I'm debating. I think I'll still go ahead and use the Fresh Freesia ink. I may change my mind partway through, but that's not going to change anything with the way our card looks. I'm going to go ahead and pull out some gray granite in case I change my mind as we're building along. I'm also going to use a tag topper punch. You can use any tag topper punch you have. This is the one I'm using. I'm also going to be using the Unbounded Love stamp set. And then also, again, in this series, the Blooming Phrases stamp set. And because I'm going to change this up, this card has these little florals on it, but I want to change it up because, like I said, it is for a gentleman. So I'm going to switch it, and I'm going to, you know what, I'm going to use, I was going to use those stems, but I'm going to use these leaves. I'm going to go ahead and get that mounted on a block now because I don't want to lose that stamp. And then I also want to use my Heart Goes Out to You. So we'll go ahead and pull that out of this case as well. It's that one. So we got that. Again, I'm going to go ahead and mount that on a clear block. And I always like to, and I don't know if this makes a difference for you, but I like to turn it over, line it up on the lines, and then mount my block also lined up. So that gives me a good chance to get a really good straight line when I'm trying. All right, so our card pieces, and you know, I always have those in an envelope. We have this piece, which is going to be our envelope flap. It is 2 1/4 by 5 3/4. I'll set that aside. Of course, I have my envelope ready to go. I always like to have my envelopes ready so that when the card is complete, I can address it and get it out the door. I'm famous for making cards, and then I kind of don't get them done, or don't get them mailed. I hate that. So this is an 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we've already done that. And then I'm just going to bump the camera because that's fun. I'm going to get the bone folder, and let's go ahead and just give that a burnish now because that way it's ready. And then I have a piece of Basic Beige, and this piece of Basic Beige is 4 by 5 1/4, and it's just going to go on the inside of my card. And then I have another piece of Basic Beige, and it is, let's just measure really quick, 2 3/4 by 3.5. And while I have it in my hand, well, let's do our paper first. Then I have a piece of Designer Series paper. It is 3 1/4 by 4. And then I have another piece, which is really just the back side. So you can do this one of two ways. And then this one is 2 inches by 4 inches. You can cut it. I'm not sure where this one came from. I may have even mixed and matched. But you can cut it and then flip it. So you have it, right? Okay. Now, I'm going to set this all aside. I've decided not to use the Fresh Freesia. So I'm going to get that out of my way. And just want to see if I stamped in it yet with sympathy. So I'm going to go ahead, and the very first thing I want to do so that I have the right placement is I want to use my punch. And I'm going to show you kind of a fun way to use it, because it's going to be tight, and it clearly, as you see, it doesn't fit in this section right here, and it will be tight. I'm going to push it in, and you can see it still slides in the punch area, and that is fairly tight. And then I want to slide it over so it's not right in the middle, because I did that on purpose for my design, and see where that kind of fits. Okay, so you can see how I've done that, and I'm just going to pull it back just a little bit. And I've got more of an edge on this side. I did that deliberately. I'm going to give it a nice squeeze, and mine catches a little bit, and that is just because I've used it so many times. So I may have to trim something, but I'm all right with that. All right, and now you see how that came out. Well, clearly we don't want it to look quite like that. So you could put it on your trimmer, or you can just use scissors. I'm going to use my trimmer because that seems to be the closest tool that I have handy right this minute. And I'm just going to line it up. And can you see? No, you really can't, not unless I move it down. You can see where I'm going to line my tabs right onto where the score line is, or the trough, whatever you call that. And then carefully pull my blade until I can kind of feel it give. And there it gave. And go ahead and get that out of my way. And then I'm going to do the same thing there. And get those out of our way, and then also get my trimmer back out of the way. And then before I set this down, because I love doing everything at once, I'm going to go ahead and come down here, and I'm going to do create another hole with my handy office punch. And while I'm thinking about it, because I want these corners rounded, I do have a corner rounder. I don't know what corner rounder you have. Most of us paper crafters have a corner rounder. This is my current favorite. It's an older one that Stampin' Up! Offered. Any corner rounder will work. And I just want to round these corners. Just makes it have a little more finished look, right? Okay, now I want to go ahead and do a little bit of stamping. So actually, you know what? Before we do any stamping, I want to let this ribbon have a minute to dry. So I'm going to pull a little bit of ribbon out. I should have thought of that, because we want to let this dry for a moment. It doesn't take forever, but it does take a minute. I'm going to take my Pretty Peacock light, and I'm going to move it away from any of my project when I pop the lid off, because it's been known to have it throw ink out, or at least the alcohol, and I don't want that on my project. And then I'm just going to take and color my ribbon. You could also use your ink pad and just run it through the ink and press it down. It's totally up to you. And maybe just a little bit more to tie my knot. I'd rather have a little more than not enough. Now that should have colored clear through, and I shouldn't have to color the other side. See that? Isn't that great? Now let's just set that aside for just a moment, and I'm going to let it dry while we now do our stamping. So first things first, let's get this sample out of the way. I want to pull the other sentiment out that I needed, and I need with sympathy. Certainly use whatever sentiment you need. Now I just have to find with sympathy. It is, well, it can't have gone far. It's just a matter of finding it. I don't read upside down really well. All right, and again, my little trick, lining up my word on a line, and then lining up my block on a line. That will encourage a straighter line. And I'm going to use my pretty peacock. And I'm also going to get this one out because I want to do all the inking or stamping with that particular one. And then I'm going to try to keep everything as straight as possible. And you see how straight that turned out? And part of that is because of positioning the block the way I did. It just, if the block is straight and the words are straight, have a lot better chance of getting my sentiment straight, depending on how I'm standing. And then, I don't think that's inked enough, nope. Same thing here, eyeballing where the center is. It's probably not perfect, and I'm okay with that. And I think it's actually pretty good. Now, I have decided that I'm going to want to use gray granite for my leaf sentiment, because it is a gentleman, and I just think that would be a little more appropriate. And put some leaves there. It reminds me almost of a laurel wreath, or laurel, however you say that. All right, and then you could come back in with the other stamp that has the stems if you wanted to, and do pretty peacock. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave mine like that. And that is our stamping. And I just think that looks so elegant. Now on to really building our card. And if you wanted to tie these in, you could actually use your corner rounder on these as well. I'm not going to because I'm not. I'm going to use my favorite adhesive. I recommend, if you find a favorite, use it. And it doesn't take a ton, but I do like to get my edges so that they at least lay down nicely. I'm going to get that out of my way. And let's go ahead and get that in there. I really like how that gray granite looks on the basic beige. It just looks like a darker beige, actually. And I think that looks really nice. Now, now you see my sample card, and my sample has mostly the flowers and stuff at the bottom. I'm going to change that up because this is for a gentleman, and I'm going to go ahead and get this on my card front, and I'm going to put the adhesive on the floral side. And then I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to mount this so that the three sides are all even, or as even as possible. All right, and then I'm going to use this piece up here, and that is just a little short. So let's see if we possibly have another piece that is not as short. I don't even know how I managed to do that. Well, that is short as well. All right. Well, you know what? It'll be fine. It will work just as well. I'm just trying to think if I have an option here. Give me 1 second. I do. I have another piece, and I can trim that down. So I will not feel good about the card if I don't do it properly. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this out at 4 inches. This is called Fixin' a Card Idea on the Fly. And then I believe it needs to be 2. Yep. I just cut that other one just a little tiny bit off. I'm not sure what I was doing. All right, and that might have been out of the picture, but you get the gist. And I already trimmed once, so okay. And I will go ahead and use, okay, that makes me much happier, the floral at the top, just so there is a little bit. And again, just use your favorite adhesive. Some people use more. Don't let it glob up though. That will ruin your card. All right, and there's our nether piece. Our nether piece. My grandma would be so proud of my bad English. All right, and then this is going to go just on the front, and I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals, and I will grab my scissors, and I want to. I'm just going to slide this actually through, and it's funny because this ink actually makes it a little stiffer, and you can either slide it through and make it a different kind of knot. I like it kind of flopping over. So I'm going to take and give that a trim. And so it's interesting to me to see the things that I use both hands for. I am very right hand dominant. So, you know, I'm like, oh, this won't be a big deal. It is a big deal, people. Opening toothpaste, tying my tennis shoes, all those things have turned on me. And then I just want to give that a trim. Actually, it hasn't turned on me. It's enlightened me at how much I really do rely on my other hand. All right, now I want to just trim off that little edge there and do the same thing. And you don't have to do a double knot. I just thought it might be kind of fun to do a double knot because, well, you know, that's what I thought. I guess everything doesn't have to have a real reason about why I did what I did. All right, now, I'll pull this. I was just glancing down at my hand with all my ribbon, and this dot really shows up now. I refer to that as my prison tattoo, and not being funny about prison or anything like that, but I gave it to myself in Spanish class, which was horrible for me. I had a really bad teacher, and he didn't, I mean, we all got incompletes because his teaching style, well, it's a long story, it doesn't matter. But I gave myself a tattoo in class instead of listening to him, and my mother was very unimpressed. All right. See, I like how that just gives a hint of the flowers for this particular card. Now I'm going to flip it over here and put some dimensionals. The reason I decided on dimensionals was because of the knots. It just pops it up just a little bit and makes it nice. And of course, I go a little heavy on dimensionals because I don't like things to sag in the middle, and I want it to adhere well. Get those out of our way. And now, peel off all my little backs. And flip it over. And there we go. Give it a tappy, tappy, tap. And there is our sympathy card using just real simple techniques. And now I need to find that piece of paper that I tossed somewhere because I was frantic. There it is. And this is our envelope. And we do want to make a little flap covering. And I'm going to use this side because I wanted to keep it more masculine. So what I'm going to do is, again, just getting out my favorite adhesive. You could even line the envelope if you were so inclined. And that would be really pretty as well. Just let me give you one little tip. If you're going to line the envelope with your designer series paper to make it just a little extra special, I'll tell you about that. Don't go over your fold line because it'll fold weird. So if you decide you want to line the envelope, I'm just going to show you this. I'm not lining mine, but you would have your paper fit wide enough, but then when you slide it in your envelope, make sure you put it right under the adhesive edge. Otherwise, you can't get it to seal down, and that now turns really weird, right? Okay, and now that that's been pressed down, I'm going to give it a trim. And actually, it just dawned on me, I have 2 sympathy cards I've got to send out, so Guess I'll be doing that here in a few minutes. All right, just used my scissors, gave that a nice trim. And look what a pretty finished product we have. And I thought, I heard this thing the other day about writing down your goals and your ideas. And the mantra was, ink it, don't think it. I love that. So guys, when you're going to make a card and you know somebody needs to be encouraged or something, ink it, don't think it. I really hope you like this card. Again, Brenda at My Pastor's Wife Designs. And if you are interested in any of the products, just visit me and I will be happy to share the cart with you. And I will also be happy to share 8 written tutorials using those stamp sets and the paper in my Purple Passion series. Thanks again. I have a couple questions here. Yes, I am my pastor's wife. My husband is my pastor. So yes, I am. And I am just trying to figure out how to stop this video. Guys, bear with me. This is my first time live.